What's up everyone? If you didn't see my post before, I'm working on a few ideas for a second channel where I can have a little more fun with topics other than manga. There's a lot I'm excited to cover in a very different and eccentric and probably cringier way than I do things here. So pre-subscribe using the link below if that interests you. And also let me know your channel ideas because I'm working on that still too. And as a personal favor, if you could instant transmission that like button to the lone moon of Hatfield and have the audacity to flash it a smile before stranding it there forever, that would be greatly appreciated. Entranced by the energy of the full moon, the quiet thud in his chest progressively becomes a heavy and rapid drumming from within. Unable to move or alert those around to what's going on inside, Base turns to him, noticing something is clearly wrong with his friend. But his worrisome silence only continues, the primitive feeling encompassing all thoughts. Even Legic, despite how much more powerful than Mondo, finds himself put off by the situation. Tearing out of his gi, the Saiyan begins his transformation. Given Base's expression, this must be the first time Mondo has turned into an Azaru. Although, with his knowledge of the Saiyans, Legic appears to have an idea of what this form is. Mondo, what's going on? Without hesitation, Legic annihilates the moon in the sky, clearly in no mood to drag this out a second longer than necessary. Coming to his senses, the warrior laughs to Mondo. He was once on planet Slug, but even the Namekians there couldn't do this. Both greeting the Saiyan with a smile. Apparently, the Namekians Legic encountered were of the warrior clan, as none of them had the ability to heal or create clothing out of ki. Getting up, the boy is vastly confused on what's going on. The last thing he remembers was sparring and interrupting. It's clear to the elder Mondo has forgotten the previous events. Base informs his comrade just exhibited an amazing ability, emitting so much power he didn't think he was going to survive. The Saiyan can only look on dumbfounded by the revelation. Legic adds, this is the reason Frieza fears the Saiyans so much. They possess not a well of untapped potential, but multiple oceans. All it would take is one properly motivated and well-educated warrior to take down his entire empire. But merely increasing his combat strength by exploiting the Zenkai isn't near enough. Mondo must genuinely understand the Saiyans' true abilities. Needless to say, this is a lot of information for the young man to take in, especially while still in such a groggy state. He questions how exactly he should go about learning all of this. And for better or worse, he knows just the guy. A while back, he met a particular Saiyan who should be able to teach him everything he needs to learn. Having just become recently aware he himself is a Saiyan, Mondo doesn't know what to think of this. But if that's the only way, blasting back off into space, they quickly make their way to the destination provided by Legic. Barreling towards a really trippy world that either has some crazy geography or serious atmospheric issues going on. Disembarking, judging by the clouds in the sky, it appears to be the latter. But a landmark instantly catches the attention of the pair, gazing at something disturbing. Mondo rhetorically asks what's up with that creepy tree. When a sudden giggling catches the duo's attention, Turles' gang. In the back, Dai snickers how tourists seem to be getting lost more and more often, as Amon smirks how unlucky it was for them to have stumbled upon this planet when they did. Raisin and Lacassie are the ones who notice one of these visitors has a tail, stating he must be a Saiyan. Taking his guard and growing very nervous, Mondo's primary focus is these guys dressed the same as the Frieza Force. When an arm holds him back, as the man chastises the gang for still having nothing better to do than to bully the weak. The magnitude of his strength is only further confirmed, as the Crusher Corps' attitude quickly changes, laying eyes on him, merely stuttering, "No way, it's Legic!" Ironically quipping long time no see, he wants to know where that fool Turles is, who has been within earshot all along, letting his presence be known with a smile. With the emergence of their leader, the others seem to regain their confidence. Except this guy, I'm not sure he can even change his face. Insulting the Saiyan, he asks if he's still so weak he needs to hang around these cronies. Though he only promises Legic too will be kneeling at his feet soon enough. It doesn't take long for Mondo to realize who the Saiyan here is. But just to move their mission forward, his informant confirms this thought. Not only is Turles a Saiyan, he's a full-blooded one, unlike Mondo, who's a hybrid of some kind. True Saiyans, without mincing words, are natural-born geniuses in battle. Even when their combat strength isn't up to snuff, they have intangible attributes that are impossible to measure on paper. While Mondo won't be able to defeat him in a real match, he needs to learn every single thing he can from him, prompting him to abruptly call out to Turles. Without explanation, he shouts, 6 months! He plans to leave his friend here for 6 months, commanding he teaches him how a real Saiyan fights. The boy merely looks ahead with a stern expression. Finding at least a little curiosity in this, he notes he won't be able to guarantee his safety for that long. Though Legic can't help but crack a smile himself, reminding all he's requesting is he return the favor he's owed. After all, he kept little Turles safe during their training, right? And it appears the Saiyan doesn't like being reminded of this, letting out an audible huff. He informs Base they'll be heading off now, who seems to object to the idea of leaving his friend here by himself. Legic quickly informs they ventured here for Mondo and Mondo alone. If the Namekian were to stay, he would only serve to get in his way. Still, he can't just leave without doing something useful. He could train too. However, the alien has a different task for him. He will prove helpful yet. Bidding farewell, he tells Mondo he has to do his best alone this time. Before warning, these guys are professionals in what they do and are no amateur fighters. They murder, pillage, and riot around the universe. If he lets his guard down, they will kill him before he ever fights Frieza. With a nod, he takes this advice to heart. Placing his hands on his shoulders, he urges the young Saiyan to be strong. When he feels all is lost and he can't move any further, he needs to remember his mother, how she was killed, and how who is responsible must pay. If his and Turles' power are anything alike, Mondo will be able to use his anger as a tool to increase his strength. Drilling into him, he hit him with that anger. With that, his friend and short-time mentor take back off into space. Will training with someone like Turles really be his best chance in getting stronger? Or will this turn out to be a huge mistake? Locking eyes with his new teacher, it doesn't seem he's going to be as endearing as Legic. As all great relationships begin, an awkward silence echoes through the area. Stepping up to the plate, Dice decides he'll be first if nobody else wants to volunteer, chiding Mondo to show him what he's got. Retaining his quiet nature, our hero takes a stance to prepare himself for the lesson to come. Making their way back to the previous planet, Base questions what exactly he has in store for him. Legic bluntly tells he is already lagging behind his friend when it comes to fighting itself. In fact, the sad truth is he will likely never be able to catch up with them. The Saiyans can grow their strength that rapidly. However, the Namekian has something Mondo doesn't. Those magic powers of his could prove the difference maker in the future. So his one goal is to hone those abilities and discover new heights he never before dreamed of. So for the next 6 months, his biggest focus will be training his mind and spirit, rather than his body. But he cautions he not be fooled. He still has plenty of physical challenges ahead too. The coming weeks will be the toughest of his life, so he best prepare himself. Back with the others. Mondo seems to hold his own quite well, easily countering Dice and knocking him down. Of course, the meathead assures it was only because he lowered his guard. Now that he's aware of what this brat can do, he better not get cocky. Truth be told, Mondo didn't even know himself he could do that. His beating with, or rather training with Legic, really powered him up. Without a doubt, he is incredibly stronger, leaving him to wonder what other powers the Saiyans are capable of. Crash and Eddie, while amused, hold themselves back from giggling at their comrade's struggles, supposing it's time to see what this kid is made of themselves. Though Dice doesn't feel his turn is over yet, angrily reprimanding they not interrupt. Pivoting to face him, they coddle he just sit there and watch while they show him how it's done. Which means, Mondo's training has suddenly become a 2-on-1 battle. While with Base, it seems the Namek is facing a bit of a learning curve, as he is visibly outmatched by his sensei. Legic reminds, sensing Ki is not a guessing game. He needs to calm himself and focus where his enemy is, rather than aimlessly looking for him. It's not about seeing your foe, but about the subtle movements in the air and really feeling his energy. Optimistic, Base tries his best to understand. The other is gone. Where'd he go?
There's more of them!
As Base sits on the ground gazing at his own hands, Legic tells he is an energy which resides in everyone's body. Without forcing it, he needs to calmly bring it out. If he manages to fully control it, the possibilities are endless. For example, Legic himself can fly and has even mastered various stages of Ki, meaning he can greatly increase his physical strength, and some say you can hide your energy completely, if you so choose, admitting he can't do it himself, but Base's potential is quite promising. As the debris clears, Michelle and Michelle Tanner wait for their opponent to emerge, knowing full well that blast couldn't have hurt him that badly. The longer they stand by, the more nervous they get, just waiting for an ambush. Their scouters finally give away his location, as Mondo himself shouts, "Above you!" The reading in front of Turles actually comes to a bit of surprise, registering at 15,000 units. He didn't believe this kid was capable of such strength. Amon admits he could rival just about every member of the Crusher Corps, maybe even do more. Quite the incredible feat for someone so young. But Soupcan doesn't appear to have the same modesty, making what I assume to be a robotic, squid-like scoff. Alas, Turles rests assured 15,000 is still no match for him. Walking away, he tells his men to take care of this themselves. In front of a small banquet, Base sports an uncertain expression on his face. His teacher recommends he eat to increase his stamina. All his training won't do any good if he withers away from malnourishment. In order to strengthen one's body and mind, it's not only about enduring physical pains. Move a lot, eat a lot, rest a lot. That is the triangle of success.
God, I can't let you get the better of me!
Finally back in the battle, Dice charges after Mondo. As below, Generic Twin Trope and Generic Twin Trope also grow frustrated at their lack of success, promising to show the power of the Crusher Corps. A tad overwhelmed for the first time, Mondo reminds himself to remember his mother and the reason he is here, trying to summon his anger to become even stronger and hit him with everything he's got.
What did you say?
Meanwhile, Legic literally jumps from his seat at the realization Namekians only drink water, wondering how such a race could exist. Being one of merely 2 of his people back home, he had a feeling this was kind of a weird trait. With Mondo's success against Turles' Crusher Corps, how exactly will his anger prove to be an advantage in his training? And what kind of magic does Legic have in mind for Base to learn to catch up with his powerful Saiyan ally?